So I should have something up and going in a second. Let's refresh this page. Probably online now. Yay, I am. Not what I meant to do. Where's the button? That one. Okay, next. What do we got? Go over to this one. So I am continuing on with racing start. So the green start point, basically. I need to be able to get from this point to that point, but the game has to be able to understand the logic of the state that I'm in. Right now, I can get into it and it can identify that I'm currently not near any of the markers. It can identify that I am near a marker. And when I press the action button, when I am near one of these starting markers, then it automatically brings me into the race or starts the race UI. There is no UI yet. It just brings up the state change from none to in range to in race start UI. So I need to finish the rest of these. Let's see, up to race running for the current task that I'm on. All right, so for the UI, I need a UI. Let's go ahead and create one. To begin with, I'm going to go over to my UI once this takes over. All right, hot reload is running. UI, what do we got? We got pause menu. I'm effectively going to take over or reuse the pause menu for this one. Call this one UI race start. Okay, UI race start. Now this is going to need the content for it. If I select the pause menu, there we go. Control CV and D. Instead of pause menu, this is now going to be, what was it? Race start menu. And the in-game header is going to need a timer attached to it as well now. But that comes after. All right, let's up the size of this a bit. There. So this has a resume button, which in this case is going to be the cancel button. So I'm going to rename this one. Where's the text? Cancel. All right. The other option is to start the race. So let's duplicate the button. Control CB. Perfect. All right. Can I put it here? There we go. All right, and then maybe one more element at the top, and we can swap that out with graphics and text. Well, whatever. I'll just leave it as is. Okay, so the first one is not a cancel button. This one is going to be the start button. It's text. Hey, where's the text? Oh, that's not the start button. That's visual element. Continue button. This one up here. This one is start race. This one down here, not that one, text. I need the title name to change. This is no longer continue button. This is start race button. Cancel. I'm going to change from continue button to cancel button. All right. That's good enough for now. Save it. Now I need the code that's working with it. So let's go back over to the UI. Let's go to the pause menu or race start. And inside of here, we have the pause menu code. Select that. There. All right, the name is going to be race start menu. All right, race start menu is currently still called pause menu. Race start. It's currently 12 degrees in my office. 12 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. It's not freezing yet. All right, now we've got the continue button. That's going to be the cancel button. Apply rename refactoring. We need another button too. Public button. We have cancel button. We have start button. Okay, we don't need to react to these. We know what was making them react before. I can put more debug logs in. That was a do not use this, disabling the UI document erases the clicked action. Okay, yeah, that was the bug we were facing and spent most of the time for this task on. Get rid of more debug log. Now we also need to find that button. So it's cancel button, and in this case it should just be cancel. The next one, what was it? Start button equals this dot UI document dot root visual element dot q button. Name equals, and in this case it should just be, what was it? Start button. Close that one out. All right, so cancel button. In this case, we go to pause action. This is kind of a pause state, but it's not the paused button. So in this one, we have a pause input. That's not the input that I want. I want the action button. The action button, what else do I use the action button on? Oh, doesn't matter. I don't need the action button. This is the restart menu. It'll be called on to actually, oh, no, this needs to react to the action button. So that's pause input action. That's not what I'm looking for. So it's input action reference. What else am I using this in? Action performed. I'll just call it action input. The problem is that the naming is that this is the action key. There's like a button to press to do an action in the game, and that action capability is reused in multiple places. See over here, start button, cancel button, pause action input, apply renaming, sure. Okay, now that does pause action. Do I need anything here? Cancel button clicked, goes to pause action. Pause action, we want to do the same thing. We want to pause the game, but we don't want the pause UI to come up. So is there anything else, anything special? So with that one, it is literally just game time dot continue is paused equals false. Return debug log. I don't care about these debug logs. Pause action. Okay, so I've created the start menu, in this case, whether or not we start the race. This needs to be aware of the car, of the car race. So I'm going to put a reference in for car race. Public car race. And this one is car race. So it is aware of it. Now I do need this to become accessible. Should the car know about this one? Maybe the car could just know about this one. The player car does not act as a prefab. However, I do want the ability to shut down that car and restart it. Or I could just tune it. whatever settings I want on the car. Like when I'm saving and loading the car, I want to be able to reload the car. I want to be able to load the car with the proper settings, so whatever it's saved to. Right now, all I do is I set the rotation and position. All right, we'll just keep the player car locked into gameplay for now. Yeah, there's only one car. Public car race. No, just keep the reference there. Formerly serialized as this. No, I don't need that. Is paused. Is paused is the same as is UI open. I'm going to change that. Is UI open? Microphone back on. All right, let's complete this stuff. Not car action. Car action does need to be aware of this, but we'll just make the UI. No, let's do this as a singleton. All right, so in this case, public, what is this one? Static race start menu instance. All right, during the awake. Oh, I'm going to be changing this one. So in this case, during the awake, we're going to put the locator on it. All right, locator dot locator dot set, and that one is going to be RSM. This. Good. Now anything else can get it through the locator. All right. So over during car action, we need to acquire this. So put in awake, public void awake. So with the locator service, this is not a normal locator service. This is an observable locator service, which means that it will notify me when the value becomes available or when it changes, which typically shouldn't happen during a game. Sometimes there are reasons to, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, so during the awake, we need to react to this. So action input, not action input, locator. Locator dot, and we need to know where the start race menu is. Public start race. Oh, it's race start menu. There we go. All right. Locator.observe. Oh, and the type needs to be a race start menu. And this one is going to be race start menu dot race start menu dot Oh, yeah. This dot race start menu equals RSM. Okay, cool. Yeah, so as soon as it becomes available, it will notify this function, which will then set the race start menu. Cool, so we now have access to the race start menu. Now inside of this one, oh, after it does that, let's put in some extra lines here. We're going to put in brackets, and now I need to say this dot, oh, just RSM dot, what is it, car race equals this. I'm in car action. What am I doing here? Get rid of this. Car action isn't what's doing this. I need race start. Pause menu, start menu, game time, locator instance, traffic designer, car driver. Those can go away. All right, the awake already has some stuff where it's doing it, where we're using the observations. So I'll just grab what we need. Control X, put that down there, and then get rid of this one. Delete. Restart menu is going to be fairly rare that we're interacting with it. So this goes to the bottom end of the parameters that we're, or the fields that we're adding. rsm.carRace equals this. Race start. It's not car. I put it in the wrong one again. Okay. Car car race. There we go. We do have an awake function. I'm going to put these items up here. All right, now inside of the awake function that is duplicated right now, we're grabbing the locator, Control X, and we're going to paste this in. Oh, before we make it available to anything else, we should make sure that we're initialized. So this is part of what the locator setup does. We're establishing an exact set of dependency orders. So the race start menu will not become available until the and I'll say no, not race start menu. The car race. The car race will not become available until the race start menu is available. So setting the instance to equal that. There. Now it's usable. What we got going on? Just had a message or something buzz my phone. Nope. All right, so the locator is set at that point. Next, so these items have access to each other now. Start, race start positions, awake. Okay, so now once the race is started, oh yeah, we've got the event that happens. So start race. This basically just puts us into the UI. Now we need to call the race start menu UI. So this dot race start menu. dot, and now I need a function to start, not to start the button. I need a function to effectively draw the UI, show the UI. Show UI. Now, race start menu does not know anything about the actual race. So in order to do this, it needs to know the race start. That's going to contain all the information that it needs for showing the UI and any other steps. So race start, that's it right there. Show UI, and then inside of it, we're going to come up with passing in, what was this? This dot race starts, and it needs the index, which is race index. All right, now let's create that function. Cool. So with this one, we now need to show the UI, set race time. And does this one actually do anything with the camera? No. I'm going to leave that on to car race. Set race time when available. So to begin with, we have no race times on any of these. This is something that we will develop a little bit as the game continues. Show the UI. Okay, that's it. In this case, we show the UI. So how do we show the UI? To begin with, it should be disabled. So when we first start up, we get the input action, and we have the cancel button. And when the cancel button is clicked, we call pause, which I guess I'm going to rename in this one. We'll call it resume. Why didn't you give me the option to rename it? Resume action, so we resume the gameplay. Anything else on this one is UI open. That's messing with that one. Game time is paused. We pause the game while we enter this. Camera movement. When the camera's going to change system. If the camera movement has a 0 effect on it, the camera movement currently operates on a lerp. So the lerp makes it slide to whatever the target position is, which is basically following the car. And in this case, the pause turns off scaled time. It sets it to 0, so nothing is going to influence that position. It doesn't set it to absolutes. It just aligns it along that lerp. And if the lerp is 0, it's going to tell it to stay where it is. That means the current camera controls will not affect a second set of camera controls that takes over when things are paused. But when we are in the pause state and we want the camera to do something, we need to tell the camera to specifically, move the camera ourselves. All right, so cancel button clicked, resume action. Now we need the start button clicked. Clicked, plus equals, and inside of here. This is the race start menu. Okay, during awake, we only set this once. It doesn't know anything about the race at this particular point. Yeah, we're reacting to the button. Someone clicks the button with the mouse, or someone presses the action button on the controller. However, I've got 2 buttons for it. Ooh. Okay. So normally I could do this where I can select the menu item, but also just setting a UI scheme so that the button to enter something, it remains the same button through. So we've got the action button, and then when that comes up with whatever the UI is, the continue or to continue doing whatever the default expected option, like starting the race, same button. Okay, in that case, that one won't be there. I need a cancel button, specifically a cancel button. Let's put in both of these. Well, first off, we're going to say cancel action button. Okay, I do not need the old name. Now I'm going to say public input action reference. Action input. Now on this one, we're going to respond to it on awake. Oh, no, we don't. Okay, we have to check to see if we are in the pause state, if we have the UI open. We only react to these buttons if the UI is open. All right, so the other one is input action dot action input. Action dot performed plus equals and this one needs a new button. This one is start race. Start race. And I don't have one for this yet, so we're just going to press Alt Enter, create the method. Excellent. The same one. Okay, so we don't care about the is game time paused. That should already be the state. Is UI open? Is UI open? If the UI is not open, then we're going to return. Ignore as this menu is not open. So we're wiring ourselves into the cancel and start button, but even if we have this script disabled, these are effectively just actions. They will still call the function as long as the object is still there. All right, so we got the start race. We exit if we press the button, but we're not here. Let's see, can start race will offload the action to us when needed. Oh. It's cold. Let's have a cold drink. It just occurred to me, am I on low resolution? What am I set to? Profile. It won't. 4K. All right, perfect. All right, if is UI open, let me show that. Otherwise, we're starting the race. So that means that the race menu popped up. In this case, we want to close the race anyway, or close this stuff. So we're basically going to do the same items that are here. Control C, and I'll paste this in. Let's double check these. So we are going to disable the visibility of this UI. This is the start race function. And did we create a show UI? Restart menu, show UI, should have a show UI function, which we haven't done anything with. I will put these here as well. All right, so inside of this, we're starting the race, which means we want to hide the UI. Well, game time continues, so we pause the game. Now it's continuing. Is UI open is false. We need to tell the car race that the race has now begun. So now we're going to say this dot car race dot let's see, starting race. Start race, sure. No, start race. So start race, what is this one? This is inside of car race. We start race. How do we do that? Oh, this one needs to be show start race. Show start race UI. Apply the renaming, but over here, it's going to be a new function. We're going to actually start the race now. Start race. Excellent. So now in this one, we've started the race. This should bring us back to this state now and give the control back to here. Okay, so now start race. This dot car action can start race equals false. Yeah, that's still the same. This dot state equals racing start race running. So this one was 3, right? Wait, where was 3? Race starting, 3. So with the race starting, we are setting the time. This is supposed to be the race starting. I'm expecting to extend out. Initially, I'm just going to have this start the race. As soon as you click start race, you're in the race. But this is the initialization for the race. So usually we have a countdown sequence that's going to start up. We might have other cars that show up, but right now it's single player, single time. You're just racing your own time. Maybe I'll put in a ghost, but for now, not interested in that. I just want to get you to go from point A to point B. This done. So technically I never need to do that. We're going to end this with this dot state equals race. Where's 4? Race running. Begins the race initialization. Show position. Show goal. Show goal should already have happened, but I'll get into that after. I just want to get up to the timer stage right now. So when race runs, there should be a timer. Show the position, start timer. I don't have a timer yet. Let's see if we can actually get into the race position. Okay, we do need the menu. Let's make sure everything is up and running and we've got the right scripts in place. So let's go over to the game and I should be able to get it to the state that I'm in right now. So game, let's double check the name of the buttons. We've got start race button. It's not start button. I have start race button. We're going to change the name of this here to start button. Okay. Start race. And the other one is cancel button, start button. Good. Save it, return to the scene. So here we have the race start UI, which currently has a pause menu script in it. Raise start menu is what we're going to put in instead. Remove. We need this object down here. We need to know the car. No, we don't. That's going to get set automatically. Shouldn't even be a public field or shouldn't be serialized. We need the action input. So this one is the cancel action, which I guess would be back. UI cancel. I don't even know what button that is. Maybe it's escape. Oh, that makes sense on the keyboard. Escape, yeah. It's just not in the position where it's like easy to get to quickly. Where is action? Okay, what did I call this one? UI click player attack. I guess I used attack. Okay, let's validate this because I have an action key in here. So car and car action uses this. Player attack. All right, I am going to rename this. Let's go over to here. What have we got? Strafe, move down, attack. All right. We're going to rename this to, what have we got? We've got attack, action, which is enter on the keyboard. And then UI has a cancel button. What is cancel button? There's nothing set for it? Add binding. All right, for now we have keyboard, which is keyboard ESC. Pause also uses the escape key. So should this operate the same? Because then I need a centralized system to handle escape. For now, I'm going to give this a different button. Z. All right, let's go with Z. Z. There we go. I'll need to reconsider how that part's going to work. So we've got the escape, we've got cancel for this one. On player, we have the action for move. Now let's go back into the car and not this. Do we have any scripts here? This needs the race start menu. It finds it on its own. I don't need that value public, but I do want to see that it gets set. All right, so now the race start menu, this needs the action. So over here, let's select, and that one should just be action. Wait, where's action? Oh, this isn't saved. Okay. Now let's try it. Action. All right, race car should get set on its own. UI cancel. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Escape should also bring that out of there, but I'm not going to correct that now. That's not my focus right now. Control S. Do we actually upgrade the state of the car? Why do I have both UIs up? Start. What is this doing? Race start menu does not have something set. Oh, yeah. Let's go back into the race start menu. What am I missing? Over in this one, that's still set to the pause menu, so we're missing stuff. It couldn't find items it needed, which should be race start menu. There. That should be everything, I hope. All right, start. Okay, now let's go get to the race. I got a truck right behind me, don't I? Yep. You can pass by over there. Nope. Are you slowing down? Anyway, let's get into here. So we're now in the race, or in this thing. Let's take a look at the car. Car. All right, car currently has the car race in range. So now back over into the game. Let's press enter. Now that brought us to in start UI. I'm missing a section of code. Or I copied the values over into there, but I never set it. So show UI on the race start menu is currently still the same stuff it was to shut things down. This one, let's copy the same values over, paste. I should just create a show hide function inside of here that the other functions then use. Because I've got the start and show duplicated, or both of them are duplicated. Play, not play. Back over into the game. Hot reload, did that pick that up? Show UI changes, play. Start. All right, this should get the start UI, no, the racing UI once I press enter. Okay, it's there. Now if I press Z, it should cancel out and return to regular race. And right now I'm still in race start UI. It didn't cancel me out of the race. What is it supposed to do? So if I cancel out of the race, oh, this one, I need another function for this one. So that start race, I need public void cancel out. 1 second. because my sound is quiet. Oh, wow. I have been, whoops, I smashed the microphone. I have been silent for a while. Thank you for catching that. Okay. All right. So credit manager. So yeah, thank you. And I was just reading that out loud, the stuff you had written as well. Thank you. I'm glad that the book was helpful. And yes, it was definitely oriented towards beginners, but the book also it's there's elements in it that are geared towards more senior. Um, Basically in programming there's like an entire series of jobs beyond senior, so you go from like junior where you're starting out, you work your way through like mid and senior, and then once you're senior there's another set of positions after that, so like lead positions, architect positions, principal positions, VP of engineering positions. And to be able to get into those, it takes more than just the programming side. And so a lot of what I was doing in the interview book was discussing things that help lead you to there. However, it's probably much better to get that stuff in isolation, have a separate set of content, or maybe a chapter that's dedicated specifically to, if you're a senior, read this. And then that one will tend to do a lot better. All right, so we have credit manager equals CM. Cool. So now we've got the credit manager. That was this one. Where else are we affecting this? Anything that's not in-game header anymore. It's now just this dot credit manager. Excellent. Now, what else do we have? If I go over to the credit manager, in-game header, 2 usages, save load system. Okay, same thing. I think that's all fixed now. So the other one in here is that we now have the iTimer manager set. Okay, so credit text, UI movement. Let's see, credit text, this.ui movement. We set that one doesn't matter. We set the timer. Now I need the timer code to actually do stuff. So inside of here, show timer and hide timer needs to execute immediately. So let's call the hide timer. Refresh UI. Before I refresh UI, let's do this dot hide timer. Excellent. What does refresh UI do? Because I don't think that's for everything. Not print. I want F12. Refresh UI just sets the credit text. Update credit. Apply refactoring. Yes, that changed this. Did that change the interface? Oh, there is no interface. That's all private. Okay. Oh wait. Update credit UI. There. That clarifies exactly what this is over what the other domain elements are. That's another separate concern that I usually try to do for the naming. Don't worry about the naming until you've actually got a complicated name that where it potentially conflicts with other things. Just change it. The tools are in there, whether you're on Visual Studio, whether you are on Rider, you can just have it automatically repair all the references. Okay, so show timer needs to show the timer, and hide timer needs to hide the timer. So right now, to make sure that this UI works, I want to make sure that the UI, actually, let's just save everything, go back into the game, and I want to make sure that that UI display for the time that shows, this one that shows up in the corner, that it disappears. So that should be the first part. It's recompiling, I think. Oh, in-game header. Did I not save this? Oh, no. I've got another one. In-game header, and this is on the save load system. Didn't I already check that one? Isn't that this dot credit manager? No, it's not in there. All right. We'll put that in a second. So save load instance, I could correct that one. I don't need to. Public static, no public static. So public I credit manager, credit manager. And now in the awake function, we need to obtain this. And we're going to say I credit manager dot, no, locator dot observe. And this one needs I credit manager CM and then this dot credit manager equals CM. Now this should just be this dot credit manager. This dot credit manager, done. Anything else? This one. This. Anything else? Back into the game. Thoughts of inlining private methods with one usage versus keeping it isolated. Since complexity is just moved around, what's your preference from one over the other? Okay, of inlining private methods with one usage. I would say I don't really have a specific thing. If it's really small, inlining seems just fine. It doesn't really matter to me. Even public methods, I might. Oh well, we might be on slightly different tracks of what we're discussing, but lots of inlining private methods. I really need to get the text to display on this screen. So I'll take a look into how to get the chat to start showing up in the actual feed here or in the video. Okay, so over here, start. Something's not implemented. What is it? Oh, I have nothing that hides it. So the show button doesn't do anything. So it complains because the code has not been implemented. All right, hide timer. Um, so when you're talking about like public inlining methods, so where I use the, oh, I got it. Yeah, I was just doing that. So like these functions here, uh, it's not really a big deal to me. It depends more on, okay, so when I would decide to call a function versus execute this directly. So in some observable, in the observable system, it's going to trigger that event. It's going to call that event somehow. But in this case, it only calls it once, the way that I'm using it. And because of that, I know that I don't need to unwire the event for later. When the game shuts down, I have something in the locator service that detects if we're in the editor, then it automatically clears the memory every time that we change gameplay state. So if we are exiting out of the gameplay state or starting the gameplay state, then it clears all the memory. So then when the awakes get called, all of those get put back into the locator observable and we get that data back. Since that only happens at the beginning, it doesn't matter to me if it's set. But in a lot of cases for the events, we want to unwire it at the same time. So if we need to unwire it, then absolutely, I'm using a function because I have an address there that I can just minus equals that method. But otherwise, I mean, is anything, I guess another line on it is any other function going to use that code? And if the answer is no, then I don't see a reason to produce its own method. If you are intending it for it to be used and called by other functions, then absolutely, yeah, it should be. Now, where did I leave off? Hide timer. I need to be able to hide the timer. And during the awake, I need to start gathering these fields. So I do need the buttons inside of this. All right, so we have the amount of credit. I also need the time in here. So in-game header, this one shows the timer. It should manage the timer. Technically, this should be its own class, but whatever. Public int Actually, this could very easily be its own class. It's just both interacting with the UI document. All right, we already have the UI document. Now I need the, uh, what's the actual display on this? So if I go over into UI Builder, this one, its parent is called Timer Panel. So I need Timer Panel and I need Label Timer. Public panel. Do I just have a panel option? Like, what is this qualified as? I guess just visual element is fine in this case. So visual element, timer panel. Credit text will always be displayed, but timer panel can disappear. So public visual element. What did this just do? No. Why did it do that? No. Visual. So the other one is label. And it is called, I forgot. It is called label timer. Match the names up. Okay, so now during the awake function, why is this all happening at a separate point? Okay, car race, get rid of these ones for now. Okay, so now during the awake function, I need to go gather these elements. So now I'm going to say this dot timer panel equals this dot UI document dot root visual element. Dot Q. And then this one is visual element. Why go to name of? I hit enter with nothing typed in yet. All right. So now on top of this one, let's say, what am I missing there? Why is that? Oh, I don't need that. I just need the enter. I want this on a different line. Name equals, and in this one it is timer panel. Okay, next we need the other label. I'm going to duplicate this one for now. Control C and V, and the, let's get rid of this dot from that one. Over here, so also my, oh, what is this? Last one, because I don't want to disrupt the Vigilante work too much. I don't worry about that. What are the sections you think are the most fundamental to cover on an architectural digest? What are the pillars? The core things, I think the architectural digest is mostly about introduction. So, I mean, there's two key things that the architectural digest is solving. Maybe there's more and I'm not remembering them at the moment, but the first one is onboarding. You have new team members that are joining and they need to understand the mental process behind the architecture. Think about this from someone who's joining the project. What are going to be the hardest things to learn? If you have test cases that are showing how to do a save operation, then that save operation is pretty well identified. Anyone can go look at the code for your unit test on saving and see these are the steps. You need to call this operation to store the data of the game state. You need to call this one to serialize that. You need to call this one to alter some of the serialized data or whatever is going on. You need this one to save to the file system, and you need this one to do a validation step to make sure that the CRC check matches. Well, that'd probably be more just the test case by itself. And make sure I'm back on track. Most fundamental for the architectural digest. The second thing that, so back to the architectural digest. What's important there is the largest important item is call out the core systems that people will be using. Do you have a system for how you deal with undo? Your game needs undo, so you're very likely implementing a command pattern. So command pattern, the fact that you use command pattern and an example of it should be inside of your architectural digest. If you are using a locator service or dependency injection, the which one you are using and how you use it should also be in there. Basically, anyone joining the project to work on code should become 100% aware of those systems. Then invisible architecture. The biggest thing in all of it has to be any point of invisible architecture. So invisible architecture is basically back to which if you're calling out the architectural digest, you probably know that. I probably mentioned that one before anyway. But yeah, the invisible architecture is like dependency injection, where dependent because you have Zenject or something else, and I have a credit text field or a UI document, it knows that if it finds a UI document, it's automatically going to put whatever value into it. Well, someone who's just starting to take a look at this and seeing, oh, there's a object here. And so that's going to get set from the inspector, obviously, or something else is going to be setting it. But they don't know. They can't trace it. They don't know how it got there. It just magically shows up until they start learning Zenject or whatever setup is using it. This is one of the reasons why I tend to prefer things like a locator, an observable locator service over Zenject. And that's just because I can take a look in this class and see that I am purposefully grabbing this from locator. And that's why I prefer using this, because inside of this class, I can now see what is influencing this class. I don't want it to go out and have some other system magically set it. I'm not opposed to that. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. If you're following Zenject and you're using standards like that, then go with it. It's cool. All right, so we have locator.set, iCreditManager, iTimerManager. I've got those values set in here. Now, what's the next element? Oh, I've got something else coming in. Okay, so hide timer. I need to hide the timer. So we've got the items in here. To hide the timer, I need the timer panel. So timer panel, and now let's go back down to hide timer. And we're going to get rid of it. So race start menu also has stuff where we're hiding the elements. So I'm going to go to this. It's not the root element that I want in this case. Enabled self and visible both need to be false though. That's what I'm looking for. So inside of this dot timer panel dot enabled self equals false, and this dot timer panel dot visible equals false. So my understanding is the visible makes it invisible, but it could still potentially interact, and enabled self disables the interactions. So I'm not positive if they overlap each other, if enabled self gets rid of it, or same thing if it's not visible, then it's no longer clickable either. But I'm not taking the time to learn that and just putting both in there for the time being. It doesn't, as far as I can tell, that shouldn't harm my decision in this case. All right, the other one, we got hide timer. Let's go ahead and put the timer back. Start timer. No, not start timer. Show timer. Control V. Now, show timer also expects the value to be set, but it's giving it a value time of 0. So to show the timer, I need to set the timer label, and I have multiple things in here that might be taking care of that, including an update. Thanks, Dan. I'm off to sleep now. 1 a.m. around here, but good one. I'll try to pop in next time and catch you streaming. See you. All right. Talk to you later. All right. This dots. So we have the timer. We need to set these to true, but I still need a label that's going to identify this. True. Public, no, not public. Private, void, showtime. showtime, and then it's going to want a timer. Now, I should already have a timer value in here, which is not in here. So we're going to say public private float underscore timer. Time equals 0. Okay, so if I set the timer, then I'm now going to say this dot timer, this dot time equals 0. No, equals time. And at the bottom, I'm going to say showtime. Oh, showtime will become a refresh time UI. It was kind of fun calling it showtime, but that doesn't really help other developers who are trying to understand exactly what that might mean. So Alt Enter, because we also have a show timer and show time. So that's very easily confused between the two. All right, next, what have we got? Refresh time UI. All right, so refresh time UI. This needs the other item. We need the credit, not credit text. This needs to be label credits. Label timer. Label timer. All right, so now inside of this one, we got the timer get, which should just be equal to underscore time. Awesome. Now, technically, since I have a property here that exposes the time, anytime I want to use the time, I should technically be using the exact same thing as well. Primarily because if I ever change how this function works, that time maybe massages the data, then I'll be able to deal with how it displays it automatically just by changing this property right here. All right, so set time, we're now going to say underscore time equals, wait, I don't have a value in here. Set time doesn't have a float. That's the one that really needs it. Float time. Float time. Time. All right, set time is in there, and let's do a refresh UI, time UI. So refresh time UI should be taking the value of label timer dot text equals, and now I need to get the minute, seconds, and milliseconds format. All right, let's put this over here. Minute, seconds, milliseconds, timer from float in C#. I want 3-digit milliseconds, but whatever. That should be easy enough to extrapolate. No. I want minute seconds. So I don't want just seconds to show up. That would be easier. That would actually be much easier just to do seconds and that one. Okay, so what was the string format to get, I don't need the string format to get milliseconds. Milliseconds are already built in. Excellent. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. Move that back over. All right, so over here, what have we got? Timer dot refresh time UI, and that's, we just need the string format. Oh, that's right. I want the format to only show 3 decimals. What? Yeah, I'm going to move this back over. So in these ones, okay, that's what they're showing for this one. I only need the seconds, but the format that they're showing uses this right line. Seconds, format time. Format time is the function that was created over here. String.format. That's it right there. 002 colon 00. 0 and 1. Got it. Okay, so inside of this one, it is string.format. And inside of the string, we need 0. Not what I'm looking for. Let's just change this. C# float dis string format 3 decimals. All right, there we go. I'll take that one. What is that one? 0 pound value. Okay. 0 pound. I got that wrong, I'm pretty sure. 0.000. And the value is going to be comma underscore time. No, time. Double checking that again. That was colon. That one, comma. All right. And that shows up inside of the brackets too. All right. But this one is colon and comma. All right. So the setup of that is that I'm showing a number on this side, which I'm guessing will be able to grow indefinitely. But then this one shows a hash symbol indicating that we need to follow the number format on this side. I'm guessing that's what it means. I've never paid too much. Like I've never studied specific time format instructions. And I really wish they had a better system for displaying it. Like, come on, we got IntelliSense. Let's put some stuff in IntelliSense. You know, Microsoft actually has a standard where they're supposed to. It's like one of the standard things that, like the API Design Guideline Digest or the API Design Guideline, that has been getting updated over time. But most of the .NET studios, most of that are inside of Microsoft, ignore it. They don't put this stuff in, and I am somewhat offended by that. Like if you're I don't think that you need XML comments in most of the code that gets created. But if you're creating an API, if you're creating something for other people's projects to consume, you absolutely need to explain what that stuff is. They are not going to have the same mentality that you did when you were constructing and designing it, that this is how it's supposed to work. This is why we named it this way. So even if you think you named it in the most obvious way, it's not necessarily going to mean anything. All right, so in this case, we should have a refresh time that's showing up inside of there. I need something that's going to identify that the UI is visible. So I need to have a state being stored in here. I'm going to put a Boolean. Public. Why do I have a state here for add credit? That's pretty weird. Sorry, I am distracted. Well, let's put in the code that I'm working on for a second. Public bool is showing timer equals false. So to begin with, it should not be showing it. And yes, I had the timer. Okay, but add credit, what uses this? On validate, add credit equals 100. And that's just because I don't have the credit variable exposed. Is there a reason I don't want to set the credit? Oh, this was a test variable. I don't even need it anymore. Okay, got it. So I'm going to get rid of that. I had this one in here because I was showing stuff, or I had the credit system being hidden behind a property, and I wanted to be able to set it anyway to give myself some credit to make sure it was showing up in the UI. But that doesn't get used anymore, so this doesn't get used anymore. This should be a private. I'm going to keep it public for now. Is showing timer because I want to make sure that those things match up. So now, show timer. This one should also be is showing timer equals true. And this one should be is showing timer equals false. If is showing timer, then return. We don't need to do anything. No, sorry, if is not showing. And then on this one, it is if is showing timer return. We're already showing it. We don't need to do anything. Which also means that at the beginning, when this is first set, that its value is actually kind of important here. Is showing timer equals true. Oh no. Oh, that might mess with me. So there's a nice feature that Rider and Visual Studio do where when you save a change, you hit Control S, that change will go out to through the automated systems inside of the IDE and notify the automated systems inside of Unity to take those changes and recompile it before you even get back over to it. Because normally it's you return focus, it checks where there are changes, and then starts compiling it. But in this case, it would make those changes immediately, which means, what was it? Whatever value and field I had, what its initial statement for false, if it refreshed that, then its state would get serialized to false. And then when I set this to true, it didn't matter. That object and field already existed in the serialization now, and it was set to false. So it doesn't matter if I change the value, its technical default starting value has already been set. That's, whatever. Let's just go into it and make sure that that's set the way we need. Oh, and if I go from public to private, private variables can still be serialized. And if I have it in there, it will still set the private variable. And that means that if I just switch this to private right now, that it's going to be serialized in my code as private and false, uneditable. Which means that the timer will never show until I start the timer and tell it to hide the timer too. Okay, so let's make sure that this is in there. Save it, and I need to go back into Unity for a minute. Let's go over to scene view, in header, and let's see what happens. Okay, it's still compiling. Those fields were not in here yet. Wait, why wasn't it? Do I not have the Rider plugins? Is showing timer true. Okay, good. That's what I wanted. Now I'm going to set this one to private. I know I want to be able to debug that one, but not worth it for right now. I'll open it for debugging if I need to. Okay, so now refresh time UI. During the awake, right at the beginning, I'm going to set that. That'll be safe. So is showing timer equals true. just to make sure. We call the hide timer, which is supposed to do that, but the hide timer doesn't do anything if there's no timer to hide. So, and the timer is absolutely exposed at the beginning. Okay, so we set the timer, we set the value. Now we need to start incrementing the time. We need an update that's happening inside of here, and there is no update. So now we're going to do private void update so we can get the timer in here. Private update timer. So now in this one, we just need to say if is showing timer. I need to also have this private bool is running timer equals false. So in this one, update if is running timer. Then we want the underscore time to be plus equals time dot delta time. Because I'm using a variable called time in here, but it's not making the assumption that this dot time will distinguish between them. So in that case, I don't use this one as much in here. So unity dot time, unity engine dot time dot delta time. I'll just call this one out specifically for now. Okay. Yeah, so during the update, we automatically update that as long as the timer is running, which that one is on start timer. Where's that one? That one should be show timer. And time equals underscore time. We're just going to set it back to itself if we call this. Oh yeah, just pass in that one. And then on top of that, now we're going to say this dot is running timer equals true. Pause timer. This dot is running timer equals false. Set time, hide timer. Okay, that should be it. Hide timer should also disable all of the values. So let's put that in. And that's kind of a thing where it's doubling up what it does, but it would be implied to many developers using this, including my own brain once I start having to depend or alter this in a couple days or a couple hours even. So inside of here, let's add XML comment, hides the timer and cancels any time execution. Okay, so now that we got that information, show timer is showing timer. In this one, we're going to say this dot is running. Pause timer and timer underscore time equals 0.00. 0. Okay. So we have a timer now. I think that's all the code for it. Let's find out if this actually runs. What? No. Okay. Save everything. Back to Unity. Scripts have compile errors. All right. What is this one? In-game header, line 108. In-game header, line 108. Oh, it needs to return the time. Okay, so return this dot underscore time. All right. Okay, now let's try playing it. I want the UI to start up, I want the timer to be going, and if that's going, I think I'm effectively done with this task. And then I need to start working on the end, uh, race end. So start. Okay, now let's go over to here, enter, start race. No timer showed up. Okay, what about our own state for the car? So let's go to the car, and inside of here, we've got the car. Where are we? The race, it thinks the race is running. Okay, so something is missing along the way. Now let's take a look at the timer UI. Why do these change? It changes the name of this, and I have no idea why the label changes it. It was originally not labeled timer, but as soon as the game starts, it automatically replaces it, which makes it confusing to try to follow. So label timer is like the last item I tried to find in it. So if I run a query, it seems like it's finding it changes the name with the query. Why? Okay, that's probably a bug that will be fixed in the next version. I don't think there's anything in my code that does it, but maybe. Now, sort order, label timer. So inside of this one, that's in-game header. In-game header is not showing me anything for... It should have a float time. Debug. I think it might all be hidden. Okay, time. Yeah, time is in there, but time is not running. It is not, does not believe it's showing the timer. None of that stuff is happening. Okay, so then that means my state is not being transferred over. So let's go over back to the code for a second and view what needs to happen. So inside of the timer, I've got the functions here. Nothing calls them. That's probably it. So show UI, that runs the UI. This cancels out. Where's the start? Start race. Start race does this over here. So, okay, we tell the car race class to then start the race. Now we need the car race class. So let's go over to here, F12. Start race. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Okay. So now inside of this one, I do need to get access to the in-game header. I don't need the in-game header. I need the iTimer manager. So let's go over to here. Timer manager. Public iTimer manager. Timer manager. Okay, during the awake function, we're going to say locator.observe, and this needs to be iTimer manager. Not there yet. Yeah, from there, and then go away. No, I'm trying to press enter to actually go to the next line. Writer, not writer. What was this one? Timer manager, TM. And close that one out. Okay, there. So when we receive the new one, oh, right there. That needs to be there. Cool. So now we need the timer manager. So this dot timer manager equals TM. Okay, so we get the timer manager. That should also clear itself up before start executes. So during the awake, it'll still, or during the awake process, it'll still execute. It just might be from a different object, such as the timer manager becoming available. Now over here, we should have the timer manager. So I'm going to go to this one. This dot timer manager dot show timer 0. Yeah, we're setting it to 0 to begin with. This dot timer manager dot start timer. Okay. Um, I think, yeah, I don't have end of race procedures in here yet. So that should show the timer and it should start it at 0. So our timer will begin. Return to Unity. Clear those. Play. Hopefully the timer will start. Start. Start race. Timer just showed up, but it is not updating. Okay. But look at that. Time updates. I just don't have the UI element getting updated with that. So now let's go update that one. So inside of this, label timer.text does get this string format of this.time. Time in the UI header was updating. Okay, what calls refresh time? Does update call refresh time? No, it doesn't. Okay. The update does need to refresh the time as well. Good to know. So we update the time and then we say refresh time. And play. That one got the change in. Start. Let's move over. Enter. There. Start the race. Timer's going. Yay, I have a timer. And how long does it take me to get there? Faster. Okay. Of course, there's no ending yet that gets marked out. Cool. So that's in there. Um, that's everything I needed for then. Oh, double check that the other states are still functional to be able to escape back out of this. Action button doesn't work on this. I want to get that fixed. But start, because I have to keep pressing that start button every time with the mouse and then go back to the keyboard controls. Okay, start the race and now cancel instead. Oh, but I didn't hit, oh, got it. I hit escape and that triggered it. So enter. Okay, I hit escape. That brought me to pause, which, I mean, this effectively is a pause anyway, but it gets me out of this. So I hit escape, 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 escape. Oh, I'm reusing the keys. The escape key must be crossed over on this. Enter, and then Z. That's what I was looking for. Okay, that one works, gets us back out of the timer. Oh, I wonder, if I'm in here and I press enter and I start the race, now when I'm in here and I press enter again, doesn't do anything. That's what's supposed to happen because I'm already inside the race. Now at this time, there's technically why? All right. I'm not concerned with that. That is a bug state. It's minor. Generally, if you're using the system correctly for the game to go from one point, you start the race, you escape the race, it's going to be fine. And this is supposed to go away when I actually start the race. No, I'll leave that up. Okay, I'm ignoring that one for now. And I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and pretend that it's not there. All right. Which I guess that's not really what the tinfoil hat is. Bad example. All right. Save it. And now where's my terminal? All right, now get add dot get commit dash m, and inside of here, what do we have? This is start race complete, minor bugs but non-blocking. All right, that is now saved. Oh, where is... Well, okay. So additionally on this stuff, I uh, need to start working on the end race now. So when we get to the end race, I need another timer to show up to indicate how well you've done. There will be items that need to change on how that timer works. It's basically going to look the same as the start menu, I guess, because it's not like we're going to start a race. So I will redo the start. It doesn't really matter which one of these I do. Close. No, I want to get exit debugging. I like that it has the little exit debugging button. It'd be nice if they just put a little button up here, enter debug or debug, and you click it so it shows the debug UI. That way they keep the same UI for both sides. It just changes and you can click the button and it switches modes. However, if they had a debug button, that would also imply that it might have something to do with debugging code, and that you can't debug code if it's not there. All right, so what do we got? We got these 2 points marked out, and now I need to end the code. Well, actually, I should check the status of the task. So we can get rid of these ones. Now we need the task information. Where are you? Task. Asana. All right. Arrow map, hollow map have been ignored. Profile selection, race start. Double check the text on this one. Race start will show up in the 3D map. In race area and the race not active, pressing action will start the race. Pick up the cube overrides it if it's in range. Let's test that one, because that cube interference could really cause an issue. Well, I guess whatever. If you pick up a cube while you're just driving through the race, so be it. But let's actually test to see what the behavior is. Oh, got a truck. Excellent. No, come back over. Ah. No, I really need to get car-to-car interactions functioning properly. There, I got one. Enter. Hey, no, come back. Oh, okay, you are back. Okay, so I got a cube. And now if I press enter, that deposited it. Okay, the action of the cube did take over, and I got 100 credits. And now if I hit enter, yeah, okay. So because I had a cube, it wouldn't let me interact with this. Now, oh, another thing. That's right. I still need another cube inside of here. Here. Whoa, what was all that? Oh, I hit the Windows key. I just found some Windows hotkeys that wasn't... Oh, I'm on the wrong panel. Come on, over here. There. Enter. So now I've got another one. All right, we're going to set this cube inside of here. Enter. Oh, I can't drop it because it's the race is too close to that starting point. All right, well, I can fix this bug later if it proves that there is a bug. basically, if I pick up a cube and then I drop it and I'm within 20 meters, I think, or if the cube is within 20 meters of this little deposit point, then it'll automatically fly over to it. However, let's actually check that drop off. So the drop off points is this one there. Drop off. No, I want to select that. Thank you. Okay. Force 10,000, 50-meter drop off range. Okay. Let's change this to 20. Whatever. You know what? This is not a major bug if that does influence it. It's got another behavior with the system and it is doing one over the other. And so I'm fine with whatever it decides. And it does seem to be working the way I want to. I'm just not able to test all the states that I want. All right, so I trust that this one is done. Let's just do another one. Get race complete, validated, extra steps, reduced, drop off, cube, freight, distance. There. All right, so inside of here, target freight. Now we need to end it. Let's go back over to the Asana code. Oh, double check the rest of these. Oh, I never did the camera lerps to the angle to see the car. That information does need to be there. Now, in order for that to happen, that's the point where I am. Let's see, I click the start, the menu. So the menu is supposed to be controlling this one. And technically not the menu, but the menu becomes visible at that point, but the car race is still managing the whole race interaction. Okay, so inside of this, we have the car target, target car. Where is my race interaction? So that's on the car. We have car race, 3D UI. All right, is running timer, this one. So, wait, that's in-game header. I need car race. So here's car race. Okay, so during here, we're checking the state machine change or the state changes. So in this case, we have racing state in range. And then this doesn't do anything if we are inside of the start UI. We do need the one for the start UI, and that's where we're going to realign the camera. All right, so if this dot state equals racing state in start UI. So this is the next one. In start UI, reorient the camera. So inside of this state, the pause action picks up. Now, this one is triggered by external code, but the camera should still be lerping over to that effective viewpoint now. So at this point, we do need the camera. Given that the camera should be generally controllable, I want to put a locator service to expose that one. So I'm going to create a script to go on it. I'm going to check to see first off, does my camera have a script on it that I could potentially repurpose? So inside of here, I do not. Now let's go find one, or let's go make one. Create script, and this is going to be, let's see. main camera. Yep, main camera. All right, so inside of main camera, we just need an awake. So we're going to say private void awake. And there's only going to be one use of looking up a camera in the locator, and that's going to be for the main camera. Otherwise, oh, no, it's going to be this one. Yeah, this specific object. So inside of it, I should have a reference to camera. So I'm going to say public camera camera. Okay, private void awake. And now on the private void awake, we're going to say locator dot set camera. Oh, main camera. This. Excellent. We now have that one stored. So now anytime that we need to use it, we should be able to reference it, which right now is going to be inside the car race. So inside of car race, we should still know the main camera. So we're going to store the reference up here. Public main camera. Main cam. All right, during the awake, we're going to set a locator dot observe main camera. And this one is MC. And now we're going to say this dot main camera, main cam equals MC. All right, so now we've got that. We've got the main camera. Now inside of here, we need the main camera to begin to lerp to the orientation and lerp to the position of this new offset. That offset information, I believe I already stored here or set. Car race doesn't know it. Car race doesn't know it. That should be on the not racing start menu. That needs to be the race start itself. So F12. We do. We have those. They are unset. I don't think I've set any of them yet. So on this one, race start, we've got the camera start angle and car start transform. So once the race starts, you should already be pointed at it. Maybe that's another way that players can take advantage by actually starting the race, pointing in the direction they want to go. I am not going to put the code in for this one. I can add that later, and I will leave this up to player decision to give them another point of where they can help. Because sometimes pointing straight at the destination is not the destination you want to go. You actually want to turn to the side so you can get down the street or the sidewall that you need to go to get there faster. Which actually is exactly the case in this one now. All right, camera start angle. That's what I'm looking for. So we've got camera start angle that's public off of race transform. Or sorry, race start. So now, car race. So I do need to get that position from the race start. We do have it. Okay, so inside of this, I'll just obtain the information every single time right now. I can smooth this out later. I could potentially split this class out into different stuff, but I'm not sure that would serve much point. So now, inside of this one, we need to reorient the camera. We need to know how to reorient the camera. So we're going to get that position and rotation information. So transform. Vector 3 POS equals, and this one is going to be the index. I need the index of the main camera, the starts, race starts. Race starts, and inside of this, we need the race index dot transform dot position. No, not of the actual race start itself. This is of the camera start angle dot position. All right, vector. The next one is quaternion dot rotation. Quaternion rot equals same thing. Race start position, race starts, race index dot camera start. What? Oh, starts. That's why it's not getting anything. Camera start angle dot rotation. Okay, so now I also need the camera, which is going to be main cam dot camera dot transform. I can skip that. I can just do main cam dot transform dot position equals, and now what's the speed for the camera movement to catch up to it? So in this case, we do need a value for that. Up here, we're going to say public float camera orientation speed equals 1. So within 1 second, it should appear at the generally appear at the target. Technically, it's not the same as that. So main camera dot position equals, and now we're going to do vector3 dot lerp, and it's going to lerp from our current position. So main camera dot transform main cam dot transform dot position, comma, and the other one is going to be the target one. So that one is POS, and the last value that we need is the float time, which is going to be this dot camera orientation speed times time dot delta time. Okay. That should resolve. Okay, that resolves the camera position. Now we need the same thing for the rotation. So main cam dot camera main cam dot transform dot rotation equals quaternion dot lerp. So we'll be lerping between the main cam dot transform dot rotation, comma, we need the rotation, and then we finally need what is this one? This dot camera speed, camera reorientation speed. Okay. That should reorient the camera to refocus it, and when I escape this, it should automatically put the camera mode back. Because when I am here, it's in pause state, which means the delta time on the other move script for the camera to keep it up with the car is not being applied. This one is the only one that should actually have any values that can apply to it. I'm using delta time. There is no delta time. We are in a pause state. So I can't use delta time. I need to get the difference from the previous frame to this frame. So that one is dot unscaled delta time. Much better. Otherwise, nothing was going to happen. Now let's return to the game. And play. This time, oh, no, it's going to fail. I never set a camera position. Stop. Okay, thank you. Oh, is it capturing another start? Sometimes I like the fact that while it's busy doing something, I can click on something ahead and it will start. Other times, no. All right. All right. Now let's change its focus to here, like that. Okay, I'll go with that one. Now, where is my race start? So this is the race start. Now it needs to have the transform for its start angle. I'm going to set this as a child element, create. The thing is that I don't want this particular child object to be updated with the prefab, and I don't know any way to tell it or mark that a new child element on that prefab is never supposed to be updated with it. Oh, that is exactly what Unity prefabs needs. We need a way to mark that this field, this component, this game object, sub-game object within it, does not get updated with the prefab changes. If I make changes to it, it is isolated to this instance of it. That way I can just click override all, and just by the virtue of what field it applies to, we already know which way it's supposed to go. That'll be an interesting component to generate, and it would certainly fix a lot of this. So right now, revert all. Why do I have a revert all without an apply all? That's, I don't know. All right, but right now we're going to take this one and go create empty, and that position, this is going to be the camera view angle. All right, now to set this from inside of here, I'm just going to select the camera view angle and hit Control-Shift-F. That applies the orientation of this object to match my perspective from within here. So that should be the same angle I was just looking at it. Now, that's going to be useful only as long as the orientation of the camera actually makes sense. Because right now, it would be better if the camera actually moved sideways to match the wall, because that's what's going to happen to the car. Let's do this. There's got to be I can probably do that. There's going to be, I don't know the math to solve that one right now, but let's play it. This will be a partial solution, and I can improve that. Start. All right. Go up to here and now enter. Whoa, what do we got? The reference has not been set. So over in here, I go to race start and we set the reference. Transform, play. Start. Enter. Now what's it complaining about? Object instance is not set to it. That's car race 107. Stop. All right, car race 107. Car race 107. Main cam.transform. I've never set the object, so I created the camera script. Where is it? Main camera. And now I haven't added it to here. Main camera. Yeah, that's fine. Then reload. What is this? Oh, it's just saying that it doesn't know the camera. I do need that to be dragged over into the field. All right, next. That's set up, that's recompiled. The reference is now in place. Play. Let's try it again and see what happens. Start. All right. Okay, camera should reorient when I press enter. There it is. The quaternion, the lerp was instantaneous. Why was, oh, I didn't put a delta time on there. So the rotation is instant. It goes to the end. In that case, I needed to multiply that. by this. Control C. No, I just wanted it there. Thank you. Back in. That code change should get picked up by this one instantly. It already did. Thank you, hot reload. Let's try it again. There we go. Yeah, okay, now start race returns the camera focus, and I had to turn right away, so. Okay, excellent. So I now have the camera refocus. The orientation, I do not have a good tool because the scene camera is always trying to orient itself to a natural up, but I've got a different set of how that would work. I needed to orient to this up. I can use the up from the camera here to then create a new one. So I create a new quaternion uh, at that position, look at the target, because that's what it's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to look at the target. But it isn't always. That could be lined up so it like crosses, it gets an interesting field or angle. I could just look at the target. Then I don't actually need to set a destination either in the camera. I just need the position. Okay, let's try that. So for this one, I do need a new rotation, which is basically going to be quaternion rot equals look at quaternion. How do I do this one? I need a transform to look at. You know what? Forget it. I'm going to leave this one out of there. I'll have to think about that later, but that doesn't, it works. It works right now. It's not exactly the way that I want, but it's functional. All right. And reminds you, I guess, of which way is up in the world, which technically isn't needed. There is no effective permanent up. All right, that's in there now. Let's go to the code, Control SS to save all terminal. There was a change that was in here, so git add dot and then git commit -m. Okay, which one was I just solving then? I was solving the camera orientation on start race UI. Works. Up orientation doesn't match. Okay. So basically I need to look at the same location but keep the same up orientation on it. All right, but I've got enough to make it work. Now I need to make the endpoints work. Okay, so now let's start with end. What have we got for ending on this one? Ending tasks. I guess before I go on to ending, I should just double check that I got everything. Start action starts race immediately, camera returning to view. That was done, yes. Cancel action. We still need to redefine what the cancel action is. Right now there is a little crossover between escape and the actual code command, which is Z at the moment. Neither one is particularly great because of their overuse. Okay, so now race in play gets the timer on screen. Oh, and race timer starts counting from 0 up at start. Okay, this one is now Done. Okay, that's like half the game is done now. Excellent. Race end. Let's get that one in. That is the next major mechanic. After starting a race, a destination appears, which right now, okay, so right now both ends are there the whole time. However, the end race should not appear until um, we reach that main race, or we reach that race point. And then when the camera is realigning to point it to show it at the new spot, we should see that new spot. It should appear at that time and remain visible until the game actually gets there. Okay, now once we are within X distance of the destination, we complete the race, which is going to bring up a UI indicating how we did, which right now is just our time and versus the best time. So it's supposed to record the best time. That state of the best time should be stored with the player, saved to the player information. I need to include that. Best time saved to player. Save. Okay. There is no restart right now. We can only exit the race once it's done. Pause menu gets the exit race. So we should also be able to exit a race that we are in from the pause menu. Okay, cool. So that gives me my tasks, or what I'm trying to complete. Now I need the end race. Where is my end race? End race. End. Race end? There it is. Race end. Cool. Race end has a whopping nothing in there right now. So we'll put this up. No. Okay. I still have to get used to the differences in how Rider and Visual Studio operate. I've been using Visual Studio mostly, but I'm trying to get more away from Microsoft. I even develop in Linux now for this stuff. The only problem that I have in Linux so far is that I do not have a good filter setup. Right now, I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast to do that. And that one is based on Windows drivers. And for whatever reason, NVIDIA keeps choosing to ignore Linux for this. However, I'm sure they probably have some agreements with Microsoft to say, don't do that. Don't make Linux better so that people will still have reason to use Windows. Otherwise, I'm looking for a solution to start doing the filtering that where it'll do a good job of getting rid of background. And I'm not talking about Vox where it changes the volume level because it thinks it hears a human voice in it. But I wanted to actually filter out the artifacts that don't belong there. Okay, so public class race end. Now this one needs the instructions inside of here. So let's go ahead and put this in. Control C, Control V. Control KC. And now one more tab out there. Okay, after starting a race, a destination appears. So starting a race, a destination appears. That needs to happen from the start race. This should be disabled at the beginning. Okay, let's do that. Public void awake. This dot enabled. Start. I'll do this on start. Public void start. This dot enabled equals false. There, that gets rid of it. Now I do need to go back to race start. Race start, right there. So during the race start, oh, not race start. This one does have a reference to the race end, so that's how I get to it. But it is the car race that needs to be aware of it. This gets activated when it goes in range or leaves the range. So I need to know both of those states. Inside of this one, we have determined that we have an overlapping point. Oh, we don't show the end. Once we enter range, Should I show it? I should show it once the UI starts. Once we get to the start UI, this is the point where it needs to do it. I guess I could just re-enable it a lot. I'll just do a check on, I'll just do a check and enter. So now I need this dot race end, this dot end. Do I actually hold a reference directly to it? F12. I do. Okay, so the transition needs to take care of it. Show start race UI, start race. In this one, we are telling the race start menu to do it, but at this point, we also know what this dot end is. So this dot end equals this dot race starts. This dot race starts. Oh, there. Race index dot end. All right, so we now have set the end position. When we show the race UI, there, keep that one in there. And now we're going to say this dot end dot enabled equals true. So we enable it in case we can still see it somewhere in the background. I feel like that should show up as soon as you are inside of there, that depending on the angle, you could already see where that is. All right, now start race. Start race, we're still going to see it. Cancel out of UI. We're going to stop seeing it. So this dot end dot enabled equals false. We also need the end of the race to clear that object away, or if we escape during the pause state. Okay, we will get to that. Now that we got this one, should I test that? Race end. The race end should be hidden to begin with. So let's go back into the game. And right here, Control Shift S and cancel and play. All right, so to begin with, go to scene view. That's still marked as there. Race end is marked disabled though. I disabled this script, not the game object. Okay, stop. All right, so in car race, where we disable it, it is this dot end dot set active dot game object dot set active true. Okay, the other one is where we car dot end dot game object dot set active false. Ideally, in this case, I would probably want to have a function dedicated inside of the end class to deal with that, because now I'm taking control of the sub objects inside of it, which is not a good idea. I now have multiple things that need to understand how the inside of it works. It's not a good mentality to have. Now, what do I need? Race. But I don't want to put in the extra code right now either. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to take this one. Control X. Race.end.hide. Can I just type in hide escape? And this one is, what was it? True? False. Oh, true. Okay, the other one needs to be show. Oh, no. It's just hide right there. That's it. And then same thing with this one is now show. All right, let's go into the Alt Enter. Yes, create the method. And this one, Alt Enter. Yes, create the method. And over here, we're going to get rid of that and do Control V. Hide, we set active to false, and show, we set active to true. Okay, that's cleaner. Now, inside of this, let's try to see if that hides this view. So, play. All right, start. Ah, I'm getting hit by cars or trucks. There. Okay. Oh, first off, scene view. The game object has not been disabled. Race end is there. Did this add a race start to it? Wait a second. Race end. This is on race end. Snap is deactivated. I'm expecting that. Now that it's started, start event proxy. What is this? Start event proxy? Oh, it's part of hot reload. Hot reload is doing something. Okay. I've never noticed that before. Okay, that's fine. So now start, but race end is the one that got affected. Why? Did I not save the file? So inside of here, we call the hide, we call the show, Control S, game object.set active. We are no longer enabling or disabling. So it seems like hot reload missed something it was supposed to be doing. If I turn the car, yeah, it's still visible in the game. If I actually disable this, it goes away. Stop, recompile. It looks like hot reload missed that. Or I've got some other bug in my code, but this is the first thing I want to validate. I've learned not to trust hot reload that much. However, if everything seems okay, it's usually okay. But I've got something where it's not. So now let's test that. Play. Now I'm watching to see that the initial game object checkbox should be disabled. And the actual race end script should still be enabled. No, it still disables race end. Why? Why does the show hide? It's the show hide functionality that happens on this. When it first starts up, it's not race end. It is the race start, I think, that kills it. Let's, where's the script for that? Race start. So race start inside of here during the awake, this dot enabled equals false. We have disabled the race start point. That doesn't matter. I guess technically I want all other race information to stop, because if I have a big green target from other races, that might confuse the end goal. All right, that's something to consider for later. All right, so in this one we have the end. Nothing messes with end from here. If end, we draw with it. Okay, so now let's go to not race end. I need car system, not car race. Race start menu. Okay, does this have a reference to race end? So start race. Game time is UI open. That shows it. What was the item that actually hides the UI? We go to show. No, come to here. Hide. Okay, that is the cancel race right now. Nothing else is using it. Cancel out of start UI. This is getting called by what? Where did that just go? Oh, there. That's where it brought me. Resume action. So this is us hitting the pause or the escape. Or is this continue? Which one is this? Race start menu. If we are on there, then we are resume action. That is continue action. That's play, start the race. Isn't it? Okay, I'm a little confused by which one that actually is. The naming is throwing me off here. All right, resume action. What does this get tied to? Resume action is during a cancel. Okay, that's where we pause. Got it. So during this, when we escape out of here, so we pause, we hit is UI open? No. Cancel out of start UI. That's the only thing that's disabling it, right? All right, let's just do this. Control Shift F, end. What? No. No, not what I wanted. Control Shift F, end. Now, where do I bring this up in a separate panel? Is this the separate panel? Can I dock this somewhere? Okay, I cannot, so I'll just move it off. Now, I want to find stuff within the project. So, yeah. If end, so if we have the end and transform position, did that just go away completely? Yeah, it did. We get the race end and something is disabling it. What is disabling it? Let's get rid of this function right here. Hide is being called, but race end is being destroyed. So find all references. F12. It's used in car race and start race. So start race, we have a reference to end, and then inside of here, we just draw the line. That's all that it does, okay? F12. Now let's go over to car race. Car race has race end. Now let's see what it does with it. Okay, end. I need to adjust these lines. That's compressed down a little too much. Okay, end shows up over here. End.show. We tell it to show, but why does show need to be true? This is the UI. Show. Well, we don't use the Boolean values. Get rid of those. All right. This dot end, we find the end. Now cancel start UI. That one gets canceled in a very specific range. That's when we escape the UI. So we've shown the UI and now we've escaped it. Do I call cancel UI at the beginning? Something that does that. Okay, this gets set inside of race start menu where we tell it to disable it. Do I have a resume function? Was there anything else that calls it? That's inside of here. So we're inside the race menu. We resume action. Anything else call this? What calls this? That gets called from awake. We use it to clear the function out, which that one. Okay. Start.enabled. Oh, I've been looking for it everywhere else but in race end. Start.enabled equals false. Wow. Okay. This dot hide. Good job, Dan. Okay. All right. Finish up. Excuse me. Okay, so now I've got this information in here. Wow, that was embarrassing. So let's see. Race.start, that's going to put us into a hide state to begin with. And play. So race end. I'm looking for race end. The purple one, let's go. I'll click on race end here. So race end is now disabled. The race, this one is continuing. So now, truck, I don't want to get hit by the truck. There. Let's see. Is it still invisible? It is still invisible. Now, when I'm in here and I press enter, there, it enabled it. Perfect. Now, start the race. That should keep it into there. Oh, I've got trucks. Oh, cool. I knocked off some of the... There. Okay, so that's still visible. Now, I need one other check on here. So, play. I still really need to fix this menu. Having to click on it instead of being able to press the action button. Start. All right. So now if I cancel out of this, clicking the cancel, and now race end is deactivated again. Okay, hit enter, it's back, and Z to get out of it. Okay, and it's disabled again. Hit enter, and now let's hit escape. That also exited out of it. Okay, and escape to get out of that. The item is still disabled. Perfect. So step one appears to be done now. So done. All right, reaching within X of destination completes it. Okay, let's now put that in there. So in this case, we have show hide. We need to mark out that the race is complete, but we need to know that the race has started. Race end does not dictate this. This is going to be dictated by car race. So inside of car race, what is all this? How do I get rid of it? Actually, I think this is about a good time for me to cut out for right now. I have to go do some grocery shopping. So we've got race start. That's been tipped up the whole time. Whatever. All right, so now cancel start UI. Got that in there. This is the one where we start the race. When we start the race, that is where the race, we can start activating or checking the race. So we started the race. We've changed the state to the race running. Okay. So now inside of here, we're going to check if this dot state equals race dot running or race running. Okay, so now at this point, we want to be able to detect the distance from the player to the end, and then we're going to deactivate the time. So we need the distance, and we're going to say if distance, if vector 3, no, what is this one? If radius is less than, no, is greater than. If radius is greater than vector 3 dot distance, and that distance value is going to be between, what am I? I am the car race, so I am the car. Transform dot position, comma, and what is the end? This is going to be this dot end, or just end dot transform dot position. Okay, so we basically don't do anything until we get to this state. This is the point where we announce that the UI changes. So we're going to say uh, this dot state equals we were at 4, now we're at 5. So not equals equals, we just set it to it. Wait, do I have an extra bracket here? Is this all broken? Oh, no, it's just misplaced. Thank you. All right. This dot state equals, we're setting the state. What else do we need to do? At this point, we need to deactivate the fact that the timer is running. So we're going to say this dot time manager dot pause timer. Okay. This dot time manager dot pause timer. I suppose I should have some actual landscape object at that location as well. So some doodad, but that's decorational, that's stuff to go on at the end. Okay, so over here, pause timer. That's effectively all I should do. It pauses the timer. Let's do that. The timer should stop. That's an effective test. And we exit the race running. So if the race running is no longer happening, we have the update. We've paused the timer. That should be effective. Okay, now let's go over back to the game. And stop and play. Now I actually do want to race over to the end. That radius should be the size of those, of the cones that are in there. Start. Enter. Start race. All right, timer stopped at 6.89 seconds. So that should mean that the car race state should have changed now. We are now in the race end UI. Excellent. Okay, this is a good spot to stop this. Let's stop, save the code, Control S twice, and now terminal, git add, git commit dash m quote, and then the message. What's the message? End. Oh, that's all. That'll probably mess up. Git commit dash m end shows on race UI start. Race start UI. Timer disappears. On reaching end, car race dot state becomes UI end slash, what's the other one? Car race timer pauses. Excellent. All right, I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to everyone later. Streaming.